Well, I'm honored to be here this morning, and hopefully after the 20 minutes are up, you'll be glad that I came. But if not, you can kind of ride me out the door. Okay, well distributed here, although for the group that's actually sometimes in the background of most organizations, this is your opportunity to be in the foreground. So I'm not just... So my theme, and I'll point out here, it says New Yorkers do it better, but I kind of could probably tri-staters do it better, Northeasterners do it better. You can kind of take whatever broad view of it you'd like. As we all know, New York is the greatest city in the world, and we do everything, including design and construction, better than anyone else in the world. As a lifelong New Yorker who has spent a large portion of his career working on projects outside of New York, I agree that there is no doubt that we are the greatest city in the world. But about that other part, as a boy from the Bronx would say, that's bullshit. So today, if you will indulge me, and since you gave me 20 minutes with no agenda, you actually don't have a choice, I would like to talk about the big lie, we are the best, and how you in your role as keepers of corporate aspirations can help turn that rhetoric into reality. So I confess, I have an ulterior motive. I lead a firm that has a long-term goal to change the world, or at least our world. But as we are headquartered in New York City, I feel the need to start at home because, as they say, and this I do believe, if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. But we are the best and we are innovative, you say. Well, this is the Kodak Pavilion for the 1964 World's Fair, one of the 13 pavilions that a firm named Lev Zetlin Associates, the firm that would become Thornton Tomasetti, designed 50 years ago. Now that curvilinear concrete form was innovative. But today, I can assure you, our industry would struggle to design and build those pavilions, especially on time and on budget. Today, we are in the land of the two-day cycle. I'm not sure how many of you understand the two-day cycle, since this may not be the audience, but let me describe it to you. In New York, when we build high-rise concrete buildings, everybody's proud of the fact that we can do a floor in 2 days. And that's considered innovative. But recently I spoke to a concrete contractor who told me, I don't know why we've been doing it for so long, it's just a habit. And often that habit is a bad one, resulting in low quality. It takes us 2 days and then it takes us 2 weeks to skim coat the concrete so it doesn't look like crap. And can even act as a barrier to true innovation, since when you say we have a 2-day cycle, what's next? A 1-day cycle, a 1-hour cycle? Where can we go from there? We've kind of topped out as good as we've gone as fast as we can go. And this can lead to a false sense of superiority. I could give you lots of other examples, but don't believe me. Here's what a study of innovation published by the Harvard Business Review shows. Our industry is pretty much dead last when it comes to innovation. And why should we care? Well, if your son or daughter was heading into the labor pool, actually I have 2 in high school, 1 heading into the college pool, where do you think they would want to go? And if we don't find the next generation to design and build our world, and/or we don't attract the best and brightest, especially in a city like New York, which needs to continually reinvent itself to stay that greatest city in the world, the future could be bleak not just for our industry, but for those of us in the world, but for the world we live in. So what gives me the right to lecture about innovation? 1, I'm old. I still call this the B. Altman building. So for those of you who don't know what B. Altman is, that just proves how old I am. And also, to prove it, I was a fan of this band when they were nobodies playing in Queens and I was still in college. They're now in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and unfortunately, they're all dead. Does anybody know who this band is? Am I that old? The Ramones. All right, thank you. Now, the Ramones, Johnny, Tommy, Joey, and Dee Dee, they were innovators. So I clearly had an eye for spotting innovators. And the other reason that gives me the right to lecture about this, you made the mistake of giving me that 20 minutes. But why should this illustrious group of marketing professionals care? Because, let's face it, as marketing professionals, you package and represent who your firms are on their best days. You are basically aspirational cheerleaders. So if you are not believers in a world of possibilities, which is the promise of innovation, then we are all doomed to mediocrity. Here's Stephen Johnson, the speaker at our annual meeting and author of the book of Where Good Ideas Come From and his current PBS series. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it, which is How We Got to Now. Johnson says innovation often is occurring all around us. It just needs a little spark from the adjacent possible, or even a light shine on it so it can become more widely distributed. And what is our distribution system? It's based on collaboration and relationships, which we featured in 2 recent annual reports shown here, and who better to make that system work than you, the keeper of our aspirational flame? Now back to the Ramones. Does anybody know which of the Ramones was actually a Ramone? You got it, none of them. Their name represented a unity of vision and purpose that was so deep it was like a blood bond. If you were in the band, you were a Ramone. Now, I'm not suggesting that all of our firms have to take on the same name, unless, of course, it's AECOM. But what I am suggesting is that in an industry built on collaboration and relationships, our drive to innovate needs to be as communal an effort as our projects. And who better to fan the flames than our aspirational cheerleaders? So what can you do? Shine that light. Show us where your firm and the others you collaborate with are breaking new ground or just setting the bar for best practice. All forms of innovation are needed if we want to transform our industry. Transformational or disruptive innovation, where we develop breakthroughs and are inventing things for new markets that don't exist yet and create new offerings for our clients. Adjacent and breakout innovation, where we are expanding from existing businesses into new-to-the-company businesses and applying existing knowledge to new ideas. And yes, the least sexy, core slash sustaining innovation, the optimizing of existing services for existing clients where we improve existing methods, but importantly, where we set the bar of best practice and make innovation evergreen. Speaking of green, why has LEAD been such a success and a driver of innovation? Of course, I believe it's all about marketing. In my opinion, the US GBC made 2 very smart decisions that I believe were instrumental to their success. One, they set the bar low, not inspirational, but aspirational. By making the lower levels of LEAD, such as certified, within easy reach, they encourage early adopters and muzzle the naysayers. 2, they update the code regularly, raising the bar as they do. What was needed to become gold now is a criteria for silver. And by doing this, they incorporated innovation incrementally, shined a spotlight on the industry leaders, and shamed the late adapters onto the bandwagon. You can do the same for our industry and our city. Apple transformed our world with all 3 levels of innovation, but they also rocked our world with marketing those innovations. Who can forget the iconic Mac ads from the 1984 Super Bowl? Yes, I'm showing my age again, right? Does anybody remember the 1984 Super Bowl? There you go. But you get my point. Innovation at any level that isn't marketed is just a good idea. With the right sales pitch, it's a movement. So where do we start? I thought you'd never ask. Now, I know I'm not supposed to make any endorsement for any organization, but wearing my other hat as chairman of the New York Building Congress, I think this is a good match for this group, and I hope you will forgive me. Again, you gave me the 20 minutes, no agenda, so. So as New York Building Congress chairman, I decided to take my 2-year tenure and do what I do best. Keep saying the same thing, just to a different audience. So we established the New York Building Congress Force on an innovation and best practice. So far, we have established 6 working groups of professionals led by those above and supported by New York Building Congress consultants, who I'm sure you all know, Patricia Lancaster and David Burney, to make sure that we end up with real deliverables, not just talk. As an umbrella organization that includes owners, designers, contractors, and labor, I believe we are uniquely qualified to help establish best practice and to identify and celebrate innovation, and I welcome your support and those in your organizations. But whatever manner you choose, please encourage your colleagues to join the movement. And with a little luck and the support of those folks that you regularly push out the door, armed with the aspirational inspiration you provide, we can make innovation in New York City as vibrant and evergreen as the city we all love. Thank you.